Hey, Job here. On this channel, I invest 100% of my income and live out of my Robinhood Brokerage account. Today, you get to see that fully in practice and see in what and how I invest my full $2,386 weekly paycheck and how I pay bills with margin. I don't pay my bills first, then invest the rest like most people do. By using margin to pay my bills, that enables me to invest 100% of my income and never interrupt my money compounding in my brokerage account. Step by step, you'll see how I invest to build monthly cash flow that'll eventually replace my full salary. That said, as always, you'll get radical transparency on my channel. If you want to see my real numbers, follow along my portfolio by checking the free Snowball portfolio link in the description below. And if you appreciate all that transparency, make sure to give a like and subscribe. As usual, just a quick disclaimer, this video is for entertainment and education purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor and nothing here should be taken as financial, investment, or tax advice. I'm simply sharing my personal investing journey and documenting my own results. Make sure you have a good read of this full disclaimer. As far as the weekly flow that I use to invest 100% of my paycheck and live out of my Robinhood brokerage account, you can take a pause here and look at the chart, but I'm not going to go over it just because we're basically going to be going over this whole chart live in the video. So if you want an in-depth video of this, check out the video at the top right, but otherwise let's just get started. So today, you can see this is my live full portfolio here and nothing's hidden. Nice green day today. I was secretly hoping that maybe today would have been a red day since I'm investing my full paycheck, but turned out to be green. It's come down a little bit since this morning when I woke up, but we'll still buy. And I DCA whether the market's red or green. Obviously, I'm like a lot happier when it is red, so I feel like I'm getting a deal on stuff, but that's perfectly okay if it's green. That's part of DCAing. So first things first, let's just transfer my money. So I have $2,386.03 to transfer over today. So unfortunately, I have to do this off screen now that I'm on Robinhood Banking. So let me just transfer that over. So $2,386.03. We're investing every penny here. And let's do that. I'll have to figure out how to film this more nicely eventually. But we'll see this update here. You see that my net value jumped up. You see that my buying power jumped up by double the amount of the paycheck. You'll see that my margin total went up by the amount of the paycheck. My margin use went down because it automatically pays down the margin balance. And then my cash available for withdrawal went up by the same amount of the paycheck. So what will happen once I invest it is that my buying power will go down by the amount that I invest, so the full paycheck. Margin total will stay the same because no money's leaving the portfolio yet. The margin used will go up by the amount that I invest. So I'll basically get it back to the same amount that it was before I put the paycheck in. And the cash available for withdrawal will go down by half the amount of the paycheck. So they keep half as collateral. But then once I bring in my bills, then that will kind of bring stuff down overall. And mostly on the margin total, the margin used, and then also just the cash available for withdrawal. And then the buying power will go down by double the amount of the bills that I take out. So let's just get started. So first things first, we're going to do 10% into growth. So let's just pull in the thing here. So we're going to do 10%, so $238 into growth. And so if we pop over to Snowball, and definitely check out the description below if you want a link for my referral, just because I love using this and you see how I use it every week, right? To do all the daily stuff for my portfolio. So let's see. So on the 50-day moving average, so on the growth side of things, there's not too much. Oh, there's DRAM over here, CLSC a little bit. So nothing in growth in the 10 days. In the 100 days, not much into growth. Growth has been doing pretty good overall. So mostly in the high yield funds that are in the lower ends here. But there is DRAM here that has kind of struggled a little bit and has come down. And then it's been up quite a bit today, but it's definitely under my cost basis still. And I've held off on buying this for the last couple weeks. Probably could have bought at a lower low, but I think I might throw in the $238 into DRAM today. So this is a little satellite position. I only have like 0.30% in my portfolio, so very small satellite position, just to kind of bank on just the memory shortage, which is expected to last for the next couple of years at this point. So let's just throw $238 in that. So DRAM is my smallest position here. So let's just get that invested. $238. Great. And then so minus 238. And then we have 2148 divided by 2. Let's split into 2 buys here, or 2-ish buys. So 1074 for each buy here. So now for the high yield side, so 90% of the portfolio. Let's see what I should invest it in. So if we go back to the find a dip tool, so Goop is down quite a bit, but this is purely for my YouTube income. So that's when I DCA into it. So ignoring that. BTC I'm kind of avoiding for now. I'm kind of favoring BLOX over that. XPAY is down a little bit this week on the 50 days, so BLOX down a lot. It struggled a little bit against Bitcoin. Actually, you can kind of see the big difference there. I think it's been kind of getting hammered by chips, and then also Bitcoin has had a little bit of a run up and hasn't benefited as much. But like if we look at BLOX, right, still it's probably still performing a little bit better than Bitcoin, I'd imagine, even with this little run up that it's not benefited as much from. If we go year to date, so year to date down 26%, year to date Bitcoin down to 36%. So you can see how this holds up a little bit better in NAV, even with the recent run up here. But I'm thinking I might do half of that amount into BLOX. Normally I might have maybe done like GIX, but that's actually like pretty firmly in the green right now. It's had like a crazy run over the last couple days. GIX, like just their credit put spread stuff that from X funds overall, I've been pretty impressed by. So that's been cool to see it recover nicely, and it's actually back green in the total returns here. If we look at BLOX and even like GIX, yeah, it's just nice to see how it can recover nicely. You can see this nice run up it's had over the last couple of days here, and I've been kind of buying as it's been going down here. But BLOX here, definitely in a dip channel here, so we'll kind of keep buying. It might maybe still go down. People are talking about the crypto lows maybe hitting in October, but I'll just keep buying if it goes on the way down there. So let's just do that. Right now, still, like I kind of target a 5% allocation for like coin in my portfolio. Right now I'm at 4.08%, so still well under. I could still kind of go up a little bit if I needed to. So let's just do 1074 in BLOX, $1074. Let's do the 3 cents actually in this, and then do a 1074 split for the rest. That's cleaner. So let's do that. Great. And then for the rest, let's see. So there's not too much in the red this week as far as the monthlies, right? So XPAY over here, BCAT, TDAQ, TSPY, MLPI, KGLD. So these are all pretty in the green. MLPI slightly in the red here. So let's actually just split it evenly between all of those today. So if we do 1074 divided by 6, so that's 179 in each. So let's just do that. Just make a clean DCA across the board today. So let's do that. So BCAT, TSPY, KGLD, MLPI, TDAQ, XPAY. So we'll just do 179. Was that it? 179 in each. So let's just do that. Just because like, yeah, just also want to mostly invest into like the safer monthly yielders, BLOX and GIX being the exception there, where they're on the higher yielders, on the ultra yielder side, but I think they have a good chance to kind of outperform and to kind of get uncapped growth in the long term. So it's kind of how I like to split it generally. So let's do 179 in BCAT, 179 in TSPY, 179 in KGLD. So nice little dip today on KGLD. Nice little dip on MLPI today, just small dip. And then 179 in TDAQ and 179 in XPAY. Great. So that's all fully bought for everything. So with that, that's the full paycheck invested. So you can see that my net value has stayed like relatively the same, right? Just from the market fluctuation, it's changed. My buying power has gone down by exactly the paycheck amount. Margin total stayed the same because nothing's come out yet. Margin used has gone back to what it was before a paycheck came in, and only half the paycheck stayed in cash. So the cash available for withdrawal goes up a little bit. So that's all invested. So you can kind of see that, yeah, I'm paying myself first in the true sense of the word. I always say like in just general investing, pay yourself first and then pay your bills. But yeah, I'm kind of taking it to the upteenth degree here. And actually one extra thing that I wanted to do this week. So normally I do it like earlier in the week, but today just worked out that we'll do it here. So I had my weekly dividends that are coming in later today, actually. So just so dividends from like YMAX, Chippy, and Ulti. So what I've been doing with those is actually just reinvesting them into safer yielders. So let's just do that. That's $613.54. So yeah, basically kind of just taking stuff from this bucket, right? And then investing it into the high yield anchors here. So we'll just kind of pick out something there to invest in. I'm thinking honestly, I might just do, so you'd think that I maybe do MLPI because it's a little bit in the red, but one thing that's, I want to get to 10K soonish is TSPY. So TSPY is kind of lagging behind here in like the 7K range. So it would be great to actually get this in the 10K range soon. So maybe eventually I might put maybe like a the full 2K into that 1 week just to kind of push it up. But with the reinvestment, let's do that as well. So let's just do the 613 and 54 cents into TSPY. 613.54 cents. Great, that's all invested. And that's the weekly dividends fully reinvested. One thing let's do as well too, just take note of the monthly income that I'm at right now, just to see how much that we ended up adding today in the portfolio in monthly income. So do that, and then we can minus that out later. And then now let's pay bills. So if we pop over to my bill pay page here, so we have to pay stuff by the 15th. Today we're August 13th. And there's two bills here. So there's the Chase Amazon, 980.22 cents. So this is kind of my Amazon Visa card. I purely use it just for Amazon purchases and Whole Food purchases, and I get 5% cash back on all those, which is nice. And then my HELOC. So normally for the last while, I've just been doing the minimum payment, but today I want to do a little bit more there. So just going to do $1,000 even. Might maybe step this up as we go on in the months, because I want to start paying this down a lot better and kind of gradually transferring that balance from the HELOC, which is a bit higher percentage, to the brokerage, which is a lot lower percentage. But let's just start with a smaller amount, but maybe I might even go higher, maybe like 5K, 6K potentially, just because like you can see that the net add to the portfolio, even if I added say like 3K or even 5K to the HELOC, it still would be a net add to the portfolio in the month, given all that I'm investing every month. So something I'm still thinking about. And so let's just get this paid. So 980.22 cents to Chase Amazon. So I'm going to do that on my phone again and transfer that to my RH savings. So 980.22 cents, correct. Just double check again. Great. So from my individual to my savings account, and then I'll draw it after the video here. Great. So you should see this update in a second here. See, you see the net value go down. So that's important, right? The net value will go down, but the gross value will not go down because I'm taking stuff out on margin. So you see the margin amount went up as well. And then for the $1,000, that I can actually just kind of show on screen. So if I do deposit funds, I'm just going to transfer that to the HELOC. So from individual to my HELOC account here, just going to do $1,000 and send that over. Great. So you see that I'm drawing from cash there, from the cash pool. Just get this approved. Yes, it's me. Great, all transferred over. So now everything is done. I've invested my full paycheck, my bills are paid, and now let's just update my spreadsheet with all latest numbers. So let's go there, and so get the margin total and margin used. So 205, great. And let's just get all the positions updated. So yeah, again, I like kind of splitting between both this manual entry of my stuff and then Snowball, just because as you'll kind of see now, it's kind of nice to see what gets averaged down and up. You don't necessarily get that when everything's automated with like Snowball, which I also like, but I like kind of doing both in that sense. I'm a weirdo like that. And I get some weird satisfaction from doing that. So BCAT, little bit of an average up here. Do that. TSPY, this one will be a little bit of an average up, I'm guessing. Yep, a little bit of an average up here. And do shares. KGLD, this will be a little bit of an average up as well because this is in the green. Oh, it still stayed 27.37, so not too much. Too close in the green. MLPI, this will be a little bit of an average down, hopefully. But I do have a big amount in it, so probably not really. So not quite enough to move the needle there, but number of shares increased. TDAQ, this will be a little bit of an average up as well, but I have a big amount in TDAQ too, so that's probably not going to move the needle as well. Moved it a little bit. There you go. And number of shares, almost at 1,000 shares in TDAQ. Awesome. XPAY, do 48.22, so a little bit of an average up here. Almost at 1,000 shares for XPAY as well too, which is awesome. And then DRAM, this will be a nice average down. Yeah, nice average down. And the number of shares go up. And then BLOX. So this should be a nice average down as well. So 1572, nice, in the 15 range now. And nice number of shares up. Great. So with all that entered, so yeah, we're constantly hitting all-time highs with the gross balance these days with the run-up that we've had in the market the last couple of weeks. So if you combine all my assets together, I'm sitting at 441.1K in gross balance. So this is what doesn't change. So when I take money out on margin, I'm never selling any assets to take that money out. I'm basically taking a loan against the full value of my account. So 441.1K, margin used, I'm sitting at 205.7K, and net value, I'm sitting at 235.4K. So Making some good progress overall. How that's split between growth and high yield income. I have 194K in growth, so roughly 44%, and then high yield income sitting at 247K, so 56%. As far as my margin health, equity is sitting firmly above 50% here at 53.36%, which is nice. Gross portfolio value, margin used, net portfolio value, all the same. If we take the blended margin maintenance and multiply that by my gross portfolio value, I get 110.2K. So this is the value my portfolio would have to fall to hit a margin call. So right now that's a 125.1K buffer from the net portfolio value. So roughly a 53% buffer. This is what shows on Robinhood typically. You'll see it here. But as I kind of keep saying, I like going off the gross portfolio value because so my portfolio doesn't necessarily represent the market because mine's like a lot more concentrated in tech. But if my full portfolio value would fall 28%, that would be the equivalent of a 53% drop because of the margin amplification. So that's really important to keep in mind. So like if we take this like 28.36% times my leverage multiple, so the 1.87, that's pretty much my margin buffer there. So if the full portfolio swings 28%, that's a 53% swing on the net portfolio value. So it's really important to kind of keep your margin amplification in mind. And that's why I don't like quite going off this number because like it makes you feel safer than you actually are. So there's a reason I keep going over my margin health every week and just kind of stress that because there is risk to it, but it's important to monitor closely, right? My margin buying power, I'm sitting at 79.7K after all those buys. So you basically get that by doing your margin total minus your margin used. And if you take half that amount, that's cashable for withdrawal. So 39.8K. And as far as the monthly income, so I've kind of pushed this up to $5,560 this month. Let's minus that out and see how much income we've created this month. Minus this. So we've created $57.84 of monthly income, which is awesome. So we've just added that through our investment today. If we do times 12, that's basically adding $694 every year in annual income that I've added. If we did times 52, because if we did this every week, for example, roughly, that would be adding 36K to my yearly income. So you can kind of see the power of this, right? Because I'm investing 100% of my income, how that really can snowball and keep adding to that. So you can really see how that math works out. So very, very exciting that I added that $694 in annual income today. So that nets out to 66.7K yearly, $1,283 weekly, and then $182 daily. So that's roughly a 27% yield right now. So a distribution yield. So that's basically on only the high yield income assets. But if you go off the full portfolio value, I'm sitting closer to like a 15.38% yield. But I always like kind of seeing exactly how much the high yield portion of the portfolio is yielding. And a lot of people ask me too, like why I hang on to the growth. And this kind of helps see NAV erosion that might happen. I think at this point, most of my portfolio is actually not NAV erosion names. Like the only ones that are left are pretty much like YMAX and Ulti, I'd say. And this is really just less than 6% of my portfolio. The rest is all in the other safer yielders. And so growth kind of helps offset that. And I'm quite ready to kind of sell all that and put that into income. Maybe if something happens, I might maybe do it, like if another layoff happens or things like that. But for now, just sitting on it and still contributing to it. And also it is some comfort too that like say push comes to shove and then I do have to sell something from the portfolio. It is kind of nice to know that like I could potentially sell all my growth here, like have that pay down the margin balance, and my income would be relatively unaffected. It would just be affected by the darn downturn, but I wouldn't have to lose my income to make that happen. And this almost covers my full margin balance there. Just a little bit of a deficit there, but pretty close. But what's nice is that, so I am paying interest rate on this full margin balance, right? So I'm paying a 4.5% interest on this big margin balance, 205.7K. So that's roughly $767 a month. But with all that leverage that I'm taking out, I am making 5.5K a month in income. So that's a pretty positive leverage spread for the leverage I'm taking out. So 4.7K or a 22% yield essentially. So pretty great positive spread there and just keeps growing every month. So there's some risk, of course, and it's a big margin balance, but I think for all the income that I'm bringing in, I'm pretty happy with it for my stuff personally. But that's all the numbers. And again, if you're ever interested in the spreadsheet, I do sell this on Gumroad for a $5 fee. So the price of a coffee, and you don't have to sync to anything or give your account info or anything. You just kind of update this yourself, because I know there's some people that are a bit more mindful for that. but I love this to kind of get all the main numbers. There's a little bit extra compared to Snowball that I get that can't quite get, like the margin health and all that stuff that I do. But that's where the numbers are sitting at. If you're interested in supporting the channel, definitely always check out the description below. All my free and paid links are there. And if you appreciate all this transparency, make sure to give a like and subscribe. If you want to catch up on the last portfolio update before this weekend's update, definitely check out the video in the bottom left here. But I'll see you in the next one. Peace.